Hey guys, just gonna give my recap on the Everton 1, Brighton Hove and Albion nil match earlier today. Kind of getting to this late. I had a pretty busy day today, and let's get to it. Um, team sheet left a little weird feeling in my belly just because I saw Gilfrey Sigerson was named captain, and given all the stuff that went through this past week. Um, Sort of the fallout from the FA Cup match. Sort of knew that a lot of the supporters at Liverpool, um, in Liverpool, wouldn't like that. So yeah, that was weird. But and also to see Mina dropped, that was weird. I wasn't sure, but I sort of am just at this point trusting Carlo Ancelotti that he knows what's best. Just sort of give him the benefit of the doubt. He knows who to play and who's 100% and who's maybe only 70%. And this was definitely a game where we needed the 3 points, and we got them. So just how it went down. Um, I think just having Bernard back was actually really good. Sort of what we wanted, what we saw from him in that Burnley match, where he was sort of cutting in to midfield and sort of driving the ball forward that way. Uh, just was giving them fits, and I loved every minute of it. Uh, he's what we've been missing in the midfield. I know Silva used to play him to the I guess my left, and he's fine from there. But I remember when we first signed him, and I was looking at clips on YouTube. He would cut in from the left, but I also saw him sort of play in the middle sometime, and I was excited by those highlights. And it's cool to kind of get to see that now here for Everton, where he's taking the ball upfield, making nice passes, trying to get some through balls. He snuck some through ball into Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and uh, he did that maybe once or twice, I think, where he got some balls into the box for some potential goals. So really happy with Bernard's play. I thought Calvert-Lewin was giving him fits too, just his speed with those through balls, just slicing up Duncan Duffy, uh, which anyway, I try not to say anything too disrespectful about them. I just don't like them. And Yeah, but they couldn't match his speed. Calvert Lewin was getting loose on them. He got loose at least once in the first half, and I think one time in the second half where he could have probably buried some goals. There was one where he did bury it, but it got called back in the end. But speaking of things called back, uh, early in the match, clear penalty, man. Like, I do not understand what VAR is doing. Like, I forget which of the D brothers, Dunk or Duffy, it was, but one of them was clearly getting dusted by Walcott. Walcott was just flying in through on the right wing, and uh, beat the center mid in on goal. Gets pulled around from the shoulder. The man almost does a 360 spin. He kind of just trying to keep his balance as fast as he's running. Manages to keep his balance, get the shot off, and I mean, right into the goalie. No penalty, right? I guess the only thing I can think is their reasoning for taking that to VAR and still not awarding a penalty was the fact that he got a shot off. But he didn't get the shot he wanted off. He got a shot off because he was trying to recover from being spun around. So it's just stupid. Like, they're always writing reports about, you know, players diving, and there's one came out about Richarlison diving, and you don't want people to dive, yet one one player gets interfered with in the box, and you don't award the penalty for that. So essentially, had to go down for them VAR to award the penalty. Just stupid, man. That would be ashamed of how they're doing it. I mean, it's as bad as anything I've seen in professional sports. Like, it's just subjective. There is no spirit of the law or anything. It's just super subjective and kind of almost like you don't know what you're gonna get. There was something similar a year or two ago in the NHL National Hockey League here where you just didn't know what goalie interference was, just depending on which ref you got. And that's the same thing here. It's like, who's looking at it? Maybe they award it. Maybe they won't. Maybe they feel good. Maybe they had a happy day. Maybe they're sad. Maybe they hate the team they're officiating. All refs must hate Everton because every time it comes down to marginal. Let's say this was marginal, although it wasn't. Marginal VAR calls, we don't get them. So, whatever. Kind of felt reminiscent of the Brighton and Hove Albion game at their place. So, anyway, we didn't get that, but we were all over them in the first half. Like the week that Carlo Ancelotti got with the team, you could clearly see they were a little more. We were a lot more offensive minded. We were making clear efforts to get the ball forward, even from Gylfi Sigurdsson, who was playing sort of in the back bottom, one of the back midfield players. He was just trying to get the ball up as quick as he could. Not quick, but maybe just get the ball forward. And it made a big difference. I mean, there were a lot of times we were coming in from the right, we were coming in through the middle, coming in from the left. I mean, we had a lot of possession. Brighton Hove didn't look like they had much answer for it at that first half. Like I said earlier, I think we should have probably buried some of those earlier chances we got. But the one that did end up going in was I can't remember all the build up to the play, but guess who? Richarlison ends up in the box. A ball gets to him, and he just sort of dances around a guy, spins and gets the shot off and curls it into the right. I mean, it was a beautiful goal and just what we needed. All the point blank chances weren't going in, so leave it to Richarlison to pull some a rabbit out of his hat and score a beautiful goal, put us up 1-0. And then I can't remember much happening after that goal. Carried it into halftime. Came out. There weren't any changes at halftime. But probably around the 70-minute mark, Brighton Hove started to try to change it up by pulling in a lot of their attacking players, and I'm not going to even try to name them all. Just that they started putting on pressure, and Carlo Ancelotti started to go a little bit more defensive by he subbed on Delph. He subbed on Mina at the end, and I think Coleman came on somewhere. He took Bernard off Walcott, and he took off Digne. So he just pretty much was like trying to solidify the defense, and it may have put us under a little bit more pressure than usual. I think I think when you go in a sort of a prevent defense, or when you go through that, I think when he makes subs that are defensive minded, it maybe puts the team in that mind state of, oh, we need to bunker down, and so it just brought Brighton on. Although they did sub on all of their attacking players, so it was kind of it was gonna happen either way. I think he could have left on maybe Bernard or Digne or something, and we still would have probably been under the cosh as it's put sometimes. And it I don't know. I wasn't mad at the subs really. I thought I can understand his reasoning. I think maybe the team needs to get to a point mentally where just because they're subbing on defensive players, they don't start to wilt and just let pressure be invited onto them. Although that said, we did sort of deal with a lot of it. There were some close calls. Brighton was getting some. I think one shot went off the bar. I think Murray, who they brought on, had one just curled just right of the right post. I mean, they had some chances and could have probably been up, but a lot of stuff was getting dealt with too. And I thought, speaking of dealt with, I think Holgate was superb. Was really surprised that Keane, didn't look as bad as I thought he would, but I think it's because he had Holgate sort of mopping up anything that required pace to recover from and clean up, and he did okay. What else? Yeah, at the end there, we were holding on for dear life, and it was nerve-wracking. But maybe you could even say we were lucky to get that, but we were unlucky to not get the 3 points at their place. So I'm not mad at all. I'm glad we got the 3 points. I know that for the diehard fans in Liverpool, it doesn't make up for the Derby loss, and even for me, I mean, it doesn't really make up for the players had to put in some sort of response. But really, what matters today was the 3 points, and we got it. Um, I'm glad. I don't care. I don't like Brighton. I'm one of those Premier League fans that, like in American football, I tend to really loathe the teams in my team's division. And since in the Premier League everybody's in your division, I don't like anybody. So I don't I don't applaud Brighton for the way they play or anything. Good riddance to them. 3 points, we'll take them. Uh, and On to the next one, man. I think my player of the match would probably be either Bernard or Richarlison. I probably have to go with Richarlison because he played the whole game, and he scored the goal, and he ran his butt off the whole game. Um, you can't ask for much more than that. I mean, a lot of the problem with this team, I think, this year is a lot of players don't seem to put out the effort week in and week out that the supporters, the fans want, and um, I can see that. But I think Richarlison, when he's healthy, when he's fresh, he's got fresh legs. Even when he doesn't really give up. You can't ever really look at Richarlison and go, "Oh, you're not trying." I mean, you can look at him and go, "Oh, you're dead tired," but he's not trying. Maybe there's a subtle difference there, or I'm splitting hairs a little, but I feel like Richarlison puts his all in, and so I'll give him the match today. And that's it, really, man. I mean, the next match is West Ham. David Moyes was in the stands today, so he's really taking this one seriously. He was recruiting, or he's doing his reconnaissance after having played Sheffield. Yesterday he's in Liverpool watching the Everton game, trying to get the scoop on how we play. Honestly, even all that put aside, I'm kind of worried about this game anyway, just because we spanked them and we had Gomez in the midfield, and Gomez bossed them the year before. Gomez bossed them at Goodison this season, and now he's hurt, and I don't know if we're going to be able to replicate that. As mediocre to average to mediocre, as Declan Rice is, I think David Moyes is going to have his team sort of still on a new manager bounce, and they're going to want some payback for the spanking we put on them earlier this season. I'd be happy with a draw, but if we got 3 points, that'd be sweet. I don't know, man. West Ham is one of the teams I don't really know what to make of. I hear a lot of people always talk about how they recruited well over the summer and they got this player and that player and they should be better. It sounds like a mirror image of us sometimes, where you know their fans seem to even say the same things as us. Is we should be challenging for the European spots, and we could be top this, top that. So can they? I mean, I can't be talking bad about them when you know we're in the same boat where we got good players, but we're not performing up to the level we're capable of. So, this is essentially a match preview, I guess. But I don't really expect much out of that game. I'd be happy with a draw. Uh, I hope Ancelotti can pull a trick out of his sleeve and steal some more points. Or I hope West Ham just isn't as good as we just actually have better players than them. And it was as it was earlier in the Goodison match. Maybe it'll be the same way at whatever stadium that is, London Stadium, something like that. I don't know. Whatever. Glad we got 3 points tonight, though, or today. Up the Toffees.